codes to see if there was any way possible we could get the people outside to come in here. I feel badly. Their parents, you know, they have kids in the school, and my apologies to not bringing everybody in tonight. We looked into moving into the auditorium, but the logistics of that would be we'd have to cancel the meeting and have it another night. So again, I'm sorry for those who could not come into the meeting tonight, but thank you all for being here tonight. I'm sure you waited a while to get in here, so thank you for being here. So tonight we'll call the meeting to order. I would like to ask Althea Devenish if she will, let's have roll call first.
Bates.
Here.
Illingworth.
Here.
Kimbrell. Here. Patterson.
Here.
Rusterholz.
Here. Now I'd like to ask Althea Devenish to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
A moment of silence, please. For a moment of silence, educators across the state of Colorado make an oath to uphold our Constitution and the Constitution of Colorado. The preamble to the Colorado Constitution in part says, "We, the people of Colorado, with profound reverence for the supreme ruler of the universe, in order to form a more independent and perfect government, establish justice, ensure tranquility, provide for the common defense, to promote the general welfare and the security of blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity." Thank you. You may be seated. Before we move to the approval of agenda, are there any motions to have an addition to or any changes to the agenda?
I would like to move to amend the agenda to add a resolution in support of economic freedom and the American Constitution for agenda item 6B.
There's a motion to amend the agenda. Do I have a second?
second.
Roll call.
Bates.
Aye.
Illingworth.
Aye.
Kimbrell.
Aye.
Patterson.
Aye.
Rusterholz.
Aye. So that will be added to 6B.
Yes.
Thank you. We'll move on to public comment this evening.
Approval of the agenda.
Okay, thank you. So we also now need a vote to approve the agenda for tonight as amended.
I move to approve the amended agenda.
Second.
Roll call.
Bates.
Pardon?
Bates.
Oh, aye.
Aye.
Illingworth.
Aye.
Kimbrell.
Aye.
Patterson.
Aye.
Rusterholz.
Aye. Now we have approval of the agenda. We'll move on to public comment. For public comment, please be aware that any personal or individual student matters are considered confidential under Colorado law. And it is out of respect of the law and our employees that we require those discussions take place privately in executive session. It is requested that individual comments be limited to 3 minutes or a total of 15 minutes for a particular topic. The intent of public comment is to give the Board of Education the opportunity to hear your comments. However, the board will make no decision or take any action on during public comments. The board does reserve the opportunity to respond to any of the comments. So at this time, Kelly will be randomly drawing numbers that are associated with names, and we'll move into public comment as she announces.
The first number is number 9, John Maynard.
Over to the
We're at the
podium.
podium.
John Maynard, resident here in Tiller County. I wanted to speak out in favor of the efforts of Merit Academy and the school board to move the school district away from the progressive education the kids have been getting for the last couple of decades, back to the legacy of a history of our country and the sacrifices made by the many generations before us. I appreciate the efforts. I also appreciate the way that the school board seems to have stood strong in the face of quite a bit of opposition and made up stories about what's going on with the kids. Thank you for your work, and hold on.
Thank you. Next.
Next number is 23, Kim Morris.
Is she outside?
Who?
Kim Morris. Let's see, we allow the folks outside to sign up, so let me go see it.
Can we move on to another one while Mr. Morris is coming in?
Next number is 28. Can't read the name. Zaray Grouse.
That's gonna be outside too.
Can we draw another one and keep it going?
Yeah, please.
Okay.
Can people not in the meeting speak? Can people not inside the meeting, are they allowed to speak in public comment?
Yeah, we've allowed the people outside to sign up for public comment.
Okay, the next number is number 14, Alfonso Archuleta. Alphonse?
Kim's
The
here.
first speaker's here.
Go ahead. This is Ms. Morris.
Thank you.
Don't have a prepared speech tonight for you. I'm here as a parent with 2 kids in the district, as an active volunteer. I got in line at 5 o'clock this afternoon to come into this meeting, and you refused to hear what I have to say. So I signed up for public comment to tell you how disappointed I am in the decision that you made tonight to not allow the overflow room. President Ruster-Holtz, I'm so disappointed. You have obviously campaigned on listening to parents and the community, yet there are lots of parents and community members and taxpayers standing outside in the rain. Some are those who support you, some, as like myself, do not. However, we have always supported this district. We have always supported this staff and the admin that has been leading this district for the last decade and bringing it into positive change with increased test scores and increased programs that help kids succeed in school and become functioning adults. I don't know how you can sit there and live with yourselves for what you have done, not only tonight, but for the last year and a half. I ask that everyone please consider the election coming up in November to remove you 3 from office. Vice President Illingworth, Kimbrell, and Bates, your seats are coming up and your time will be done. If this community has anything to say about it, you say that I'm part of a loud minority, but in fact, you are incorrect. And I am part of a majority
1 minute.
that is both loud and quiet. And I would ask you to please not shut out parents from this meeting. Please do not shut out taxpayers from this meeting and your supporters as well from this meeting. How dare you? Please, people, please choose to take these people out of power in November. They do not deserve to represent Woodland Park School District. That's it.
Next.
We had Alphonse Archuleta.
Thank you all. I love this city. I love this state and this country, as does our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And I think he would be very disappointed if it's allowed to turn to a socialist agenda in this county, in this city, and in the state. We want to continue to raise our children in the fear and the admonition of the Lord, and that he would be glorified, that he would be honored, and not this agenda to destroy the work that our forefathers have fought and died for, and that our community has grown to love and to serve, because things are getting out of hand. Things are not the way they should be. And why anybody would want to support an agenda that would defeat and destroy the very fabric of our nation, the very things that we lived and a lot of our family members have died for, is being taken apart piece by piece, brick by brick, and it shouldn't be. We all should come together in love, and we should try to serve the community that loves the Lord and not those that hate our country or want to destroy us from within. As Abraham Lincoln said,
1 minute.
it's not going to be done from the outside. It's going to be done from within the walls of our country. And it's happening. And people need to wake up and see that this is still a great country. It is still worthy that we fight for it, and that we fight for what is right, for what is good, for what is wholesome, and not allow a Marxist, socialist agenda to destroy what started as a capitalist society, which is the ideal of the world. It's the greatest idea that's ever come about, and it's what got you all here. It's what's got us all here. Socialism has never worked in any country, ever in the history of the world. Why would we want to defeat such a great system and destroy it for something that's never worked? It's beyond reason. Thank you.
This is Miss Graves.
Miss Graves, that's me.
You can pull the microphone down if you need to.
Well, thank you for this day. And there's a crowd. It's a nightmare outside. And I am ex-parent, a mother. My 2 kids are graduating from the high school here. And one 2010, the other one 2020. And they had a good school years here. We had communication with teachers, it was great, but for past couple of years, I'm a preschool teacher. I'm raising little ones to eventually get this high school, graduate from here, hopefully. They pray to God for that. This town and the school will turn to the better. And we all know the socialism is in full force in everywhere. And that's never gonna work. I am totally against it. And I am a Christian and I believe in God and our country, one nation under God. Freedom for everybody, no matter what. And I don't agree what is going on, our children is being pounded for power. I don't agree with that. We need to leave the children be children. Let them learn in their own pace, not being pushed and forced something they don't understand. Children needs to learn ABC 1, 2, 3, not for gender identity. Children.
Let me interrupt you just real quick. If we can, I know that there's a lot of energy in the room tonight. Just wait. If you're going to applaud, please wait until the end for the speaker, please. Thank you. Go ahead. You won't lose any time. You can continue.
That's fine. What is teaching in the school is confuse the children, and this shows so many young kids commit suicide. Yes. We are killing our children for forcing our ideology. Socialism doesn't work. Even William Bradley, as you guys know, was the first socialist town built in America back in the 1600s. And it didn't work. It fell flat. And why are you keep trying something over and over and over and again? It doesn't work. Don't they see other countries who failed miserably in socialism? Why can't they accept the capitalism? Capitalism puts money in your pocket.
Thank you. Thank you for your time, right?
She has 18 seconds.
Never mind, keep going.
But if you don't like the capitalism, then why don't you give the raise you got in this school board, give it to you back to us? Why are we have to pay you? Yes. If you don't like the capital, if you don't like the money, give back the money back to us again. Put the money where it belongs to our children at school for their education. That's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm saying. Why are we paying for you? If you don't like the capitalism, work free for us.
Yeah, that's right. Amen.
Number 18, Matt Galowski.
Thank you. He's outside.
He's outside.
Move on to another one?
Sure.
While we're waiting for Matt.
Number 2, Drew DePatty. Drew DePatty.
What number?
Number 2.
Thank you to the board for your honorable and distinguished service. I read in the newspaper how the extremists are stepping up their attacks on the duly elected Board of Education. They now want security camera footage of a conversation among school board members in the hallway. The denial of the request from the board and the ensuing response was, of course, well-reasoned, measured, and thoughtful, particularly the public comments by Director Illingworth. But my concern is whether now, in 2023, is it the right time to be amicable with people who are trying to destroy the community and hurt the children of the Woodland Park School District? I think that your response to this attack would be appropriate if it was the year, say, 1995 or even 2010. Our country and our community have changed. These times require that we fiercely fight to protect the children. That is why I'm calling on the school board to expand video surveillance program in Woodland Park School District. And not just by adding security cameras with grainy video around the school properties, I mean installing high quality video and audio cameras inside the classrooms so the people of Woodland Park can see and hear what some of these teachers from this small fringe group of extremists are doing to the children. If these extremists want video footage of public servants, let's give it to them. Light is the best disinfectant. Let's shine light on how they are coaching kids to hate this country, to hate themselves, to hate the creator of the universe. Let's show them how they are harassing children whose parents oppose their radical political agenda. And this is not some conspiracy theory from the dark corners of the internet. In just the last few weeks, the Colorado Education Association, the state organization of unionized and radicalized teachers, passed a resolution condemning capitalism. So now they are putting resources behind changing laws and pushing anti-capitalism upon our children. They are actively and aggressively hurting the children. This must be stopped, and the way to stop it is to shine light. I recognize this is not the full answer to rooting out corrupt teachers, because out of camera's view, they still wield tremendous power and control over children's lives. For example, the board needs to address the problem of teachers fixing grades, handing out spots on sports teams in exchange for pushing their political agenda. The Board of Education is filled with honorable gentlemen and gentlewomen. But now we need fierce fighters. Please fight for the kids of Woodland Park.
Amen.
Thank you.
My name's Matt Glowski. I'm a parent, former member of Columbine's School Accountability Committee. I'm very lucky to be speaking here today. I know you guys, kept us out in the rain. Got a few people in here, but I consider myself super fortunate. I'm disappointed to limit public comment to 30 minutes. A lot of people are not being heard. It's un-American, maybe a violation of the First Amendment, I don't know, but disappointing in you guys. So I know your academic success is your priority, right? Well, last week, there were 11 juniors inducted into the National Honor Society. I mean, that's like the pinnacle of academic success. Where were you? None of you were there to congratulate them or to celebrate their achievement. How many kids could you even recognize and name when you walk down the street? Let's talk about transportation, though. That's the real thing I want to talk about. We all love the fact that the charter school kids get to pay the same $50 and ride the buses. That is fantastic. And even this board, with its anti-socialist rhetoric, I think even this board can get behind that. So I was curious how the actual cost was being shared, because I knew that $50 a kid, that doesn't pay for most of it, does it? So I asked the interim superintendent quite a few times if there was an agreement in writing. He wouldn't answer me. The board president wouldn't give me a straight answer. So I dug into this more. The parent fees for transportation cover about 1.3% of the actual cost. The state gives us a little bit, about 15%. So the balance is $1.3 million. Comes out of the general fund of our 5 public schools. It works out to about $780 per kid. It's a lot of money, but it's a great program, and we all love it, right? So how are we splitting the cost with the charter school? You guys wouldn't tell me, so I had to use the Colorado Open Records Act. And I learned a lot. Turns out that the kids in our 5 public schools, they each pay $780 out of our general fund. Charter school kids pay $0. So I think I understand why you didn't want me to learn about those details now. So why are the students in the 5 public schools paying more per pupil for transportation than the students in the charter school? If the costs were equally divided, I mean, it's a lot of money. You know, $200,000 for our public schools to help replace the teachers that you have driven out. We've lost, 40, 50%? We need that money in the public schools to get some new teachers in here. My daughter and the 1,675 other students in our 5 public schools deserve an answer as to why you're favoring the charter school kids over them. You're a bunch of thieves and cowards, and I can't wait to vote you out this fall.
I'd like to ask Superintendent Witt to respond to some of the things that Mr. Golowski said.
Absolutely. I think a couple of points worth responding to are, number one, we don't have 5 public schools in Woodland Park. We have 6.
That's right.
We have 6 great public schools in Woodland Park. And we're committed to ensuring that every student in Woodland Park has safe and reliable transportation to the school that their parents believe is the best educational fit for them. We will continue that practice. Every student and every family in Woodland Park pays the same amount to ride those buses. And that's the right answer, and it's the only answer that works to ensure that every family in Woodland Park gets the best education they believe is appropriate in the school they believe is appropriate for their children.
I just want to say there are no second-class students in this district. Every single one of our children are special kids. So, thank you. Next, Kelly.
Number 19, Sarah Vogt. Is Sarah outside? You're getting your steps.
I will go back.
Can we draw another one while we're waiting?
Yeah, let's do it.
Number 17, Dave Sauer, Sauer. He's outside too?
I think after 15, they're all outside.
Oh, wow.
Keep going.
Okay. Then we'll be back, or we'll be at our time after these 3 talk. Another one outside, 25, Lindsay Orlano.
People signed up.
30. How many have spoken? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
30 minutes.
And our 30 minutes will expire here. This will be it right here. Yep, 3. That'll conclude it.
Who else do you have?
I'm just curious.
Hey, I just want to note that I left my 6-month-old baby at home tonight to stand outside in the rain for an hour and a half so that I could attend this meeting. Mr. Witt, you said that we run education like a business. Presumably the rest of the board agrees with you, so I want to dig into that a little bit. In my career, I've worked for several private companies, and out of the many things successful businesses have in common, for the sake of my time limit, I'd like to highlight 5. 1, when hiring a CEO, a successful business undertakes an extensive search process involving multiple candidates. Other senior managers who would report to that person are included on the interview team. If the candidate is viewed unfavorably by the people who would become his direct reports, he is removed from consideration. 2, during a search for a CEO, a successful business automatically eliminates, or at the very least approaches with extreme caution, any candidate who cannot demonstrate a history of success as a manager and leader, or who doesn't have a robust background in the field he's being hired into. 3, successful businesses are relentlessly data-driven. Most businesses today collect a lot of data, but the good ones trust that data, especially when it contradicts any preconceived plans or ideas. 4, successful businesses don't leave money on the table, especially not absurdly low-hanging fruit like existing grant money. Why would a successful business reject resources that empower them to do more with less? 5, successful businesses don't start strategic cross-functional projects without detailed plans, and they develop those plans with active participation from the departments and employees who will be responsible for executing them or affected by them. Now let's look at how you stack up against these 5 markers. 1, you hired a CEO, interim superintendent, without including any of his direct reports in the interview process. 2, you hired an interim superintendent whose only prior experience with traditional public schools was holding a single board position that he was recalled from after only 2 years. 3, you routinely disregard data in your decision-making. For example, by reshuffling the school calendar, even though parents were evenly split, and an overwhelming majority of teachers who you surveyed preferred a different option. 4, you chose to turn off the tap to a bunch of free money and let go of 15 jobs in the process. I mean, at this point, your actions are just comically antithetical to the way any serious business would operate. 5, finally, you've started multiple complex, far-reaching projects without any plans or buy-in from your employees, divvying up the middle school, shifting 6th, adopting controversial standards. I could go on. So when you say we run education like a business, do you mean a failing business? Personally, If I found myself working for a company that was anything like the business you're running here, I'd flee for the door. Just like 40% of Woodland Park's teachers already have.
Time. Wow.
Can I have a microphone?
It's up there at the.
Man, as many people as we have here tonight, we ought to take over Woodland Park, said billionaire Andrew Womack months before the November school board elections. It would be naive to think that Andrew Womack's Truth and Liberty Coalition did not have a major hand in funneling dark money into at least 15 Colorado school board elections, using ghost organizations such as the Springs Opportunity Fund that sprung into existence a few months before the election. Out of 21 Womack-endorsed candidates in Colorado, 12 won school board seats, and 4 school districts lost control to them, Woodland Park being one of them. Since then, you lackeys of Andrew Womack have prematurely financed a fledgling charter school without public notice and gave them a third of the middle school and $100,000 despite public opinion to the contrary by your own survey. You've driven off or fired 40% of our faculty. You've enlisted remaining teachers into a fake union as a condition of their employment at the cost of $40,000 per year. You've driven off countless students to neighboring school districts, a loss of $8,489 per student. You've hired an unqualified part-time superintendent for $155,000 per year. You've refused to reapply for $1.5 million in grants to cover salaries for our counseling staff, even as middle school students were recently traumatized thinking there was an active shooter in their building. You've used $28,000 of taxpayers' money to defend yourselves in court with an ongoing appeal promising to cost even more. And you've in place a widely condemned social studies curriculum that effectively gags teachers and students from open classroom discussion from anything that offends your political viewpoint. Furthermore, the inevitable lawsuits your actions have spurred will unfortunately not be filed against you personally as board members, but against the school district, and the taxpayers will be paying the awarded monies, not you. So, in the meantime, you essentially have an unlimited war fund to harass your critics and line Brad Miller's pockets. November cannot come soon enough.
I'm going to be reading a statement on behalf of my daughter, Allie Oriana, who is unable to be here tonight because she had to work. Hello, my name is Allie Oriana, and you've seen me speak before. My perspective has changed a little bit since then. I've been a Girl Scout for 7 years, and it has inspired me to be a leader that I am today. Currently, I am working to earn my Gold Award, which is the equivalent of an Eagle Scout for Boy Scouts. This achievement creates long-lasting change in my community, but you don't have to be part of a leadership organization such as Girl Scouts to be a leader. Tonight, I am hoping to reach everyone in this room. It is up to you to determine how successful I am. The community we have here isn't perfect, but it is passionate and it cares. Everyone can see that. So why can't we use that passion for empathy rather than hate? How is it that we can expect others to form to our expectations if we wouldn't do the same? I want you to think about something positive and something negative about yourself. Now I want you to think about the person next to you. And again, something positive and something negative. Now for the hard part. Look at the people across the room from you. What is something that you dislike about them?
and what is something that you like about them. It's a lot harder to think kindly about people who have different views than you, but it's not impossible. Remember that all people are humans who have real lives and real feelings and really care about what it is that they're fighting for. We have become so focused on taking down those across the aisle that we don't see them as human anymore. No one is going to win this battle if we are fighting over the same basic value, providing for the students in this district so that they can have the skills that they need in life. It sounds cliche, but it's true that fighting hate with hate only means more hate. It is simple as 2 + 2 = 4. If we can talk about what is right and what is wrong, if we can talk of what is right and what is wrong, or we can try to look at everything without these tinted glasses, you will find that when they are removed, the world is a lot more clear. I want to see this community whole again. This is why, for me, my Girl Scout Gold Award is creating a community unity garden. I am hoping that this garden will be a space where people have different views, but that can come together over food, nature, and mixed experiences. I invite you to come build this garden with me, to leave all of your biases behind, and get to know the people that live in the community with you. Who knows what will happen when you open your mind to new possibilities? Really, only your mind is the limit. You can't give up on someone just because the situation isn't ideal. Greatly relationships aren't great because they have no problems.
Time.
Will you allow me to finish 2 sentences?
Please continue.
Okay. They are great because people care enough about each other to find a way to make it work. Thank you. I hope to see you all there. Information about the build and location will be closer to the building.
Thank you so much. I just have something I want to say. Can you tell Allie I am very proud of her and that that was amazing. Thank you so much.
Community Unity.
Community garden.
Do we have more?
That concludes public comment.
Well, we can learn a lot from Allie. She has amazed me, some of the things that she has written to me. What a wonderful young lady she is. I am just continually impressed with her. Okay, thank you for your participation tonight in public comment. Next, we'll move on to Roman numeral 5, consent agenda. Do I have a motion to accept?
So moved.
Second. Roll call.
Bates.
Aye.
Illingworth.
Aye.
Kimbrell.
Aye.
Patterson.
Aye.
Resterholz.
Aye. I just wanted to explain something real quick. The consent agenda, because I used to wonder this myself, they're typically items that are routine matters that don't require any kind of discussion. They're just a matter of school business. That's why we just jump to approve or not. Next, we'll move on to Roman numeral 6, action items.
President Stoltz, could I have a moment of personal privilege just to recognize some of the great accomplishments in the district?
Yes, please. Is your microphone on?
Is my microphone on? We've had so many things towards the end of the year, just great accomplishments among students in the Woodland Park School District, that I wanted to go through the list. I know we've had a history in the district of spotlighting one accomplishment or another, or one group or another. And quite honestly, the list was long enough that we didn't want to do that. We want to try and capture as much as we can. And I apologize for any accomplishment that I miss here. I'm sure I can't get them all, but I very much would like to tell you a little bit about how wonderful a wrap-up and it has been in Woodland Park, and what great investment we have from our students in so many activities and so many accomplishments. So I'll start off with just reminding everyone, this is Teacher Appreciation Week this week. Please take a minute to say thank you to your kids' teachers. Recognize the long hours, the hard work that they put in. Recognize that it is a sacrifice, and recognize that it is an investment of a huge percentage of their lives in what they do. In terms of accomplishments, we inducted 23 new students into the International Thespian Society, Troop 2442, at Woodland Park High School. This is the honor society for theater students and also house students letter in theater at Woodland Park High School. 9 students lettered this year. Envirothon teams won first and second place at the state competition. The first place team will compete in Canada in July at the North American competition. The girls soccer team qualified for the playoffs with their win this past Saturday. Woodland Park High School boys and girls track teams placed second out of 14 teams at their most recent meet, have had many athletes qualify for state, and are currently having one of the most successful seasons in Woodland Park High School history for track. Welding won their state competition and will compete at the Nationals in Georgia. I know many of you have seen some fundraisers that they've posted on that. We will absolutely make certain that they get to their Nationals, and the school district will absolutely make certain that they're supported in doing that. Destination Imagination from Summit Elementary placed third at state and will be attending the Globals competition in Kansas at the end of this month. Woodland Park High School forensics team has 3 of its members, Caleb Kezior, Mia Nicholsberg, and Jackson Murray, heading to Nationals in June. Woodland Park High School, and I'm sorry, it's a bit of a list, but this is how much is going on in Woodland Park.
Please keep going.
No, yeah.
Woodland Park had 2 students, Quinn Wilms and Gwyneth Villaro, first in their category at the Young People's Art Exhibition. Also, Luke Kettler placed second, and Macy Lundgren received an honorable mention at the Tri-Peaks League Art Show. Sorry, mouthful. Select Ladies Ensemble earned the 3rd highest rating overall at the Southern Vocal Large Group Festival, earning 1 superior rating and 2 excellent ratings for their performance. Madrigals was one of only 2 schools to earn superior ratings from all judges in every category, including sight reading. And finally, cadets from the Merit Academy Cadet Squadron CAP enjoyed participating in piloting some of the aircraft in Civil Air Patrol's fleet, Cessna 172s, 182s, and the Gippsland GA-8 Airvan. Their April 24th morning flight included flying over Merit Academy and the Woodland Park Middle School before navigating to Canyon City and West Cliff.
That's pretty cool.
We have incredible accomplishments, incredible investments.
We are doing great things. Our kids and teachers are just doing amazing things. It's good to see. Thank you for pointing those out.
Thank you.
Okay, on to action item A, resolution for superintendent contract renewal. I'd like to ask each of the directors, give opportunity to make a statement about that before we do take a vote on that. So, any discussion? Sue?
I truly feel that we're blessed to have Ken Witt as our superintendent, and I am in full agreement to renew his contract for another year. He has brought this school forward. He has introduced the PACE to advocate for the teachers. He has increased the life insurance from, I believe, $15,000 to $40,000 per teacher. And in light of the rhetoric around the grants that we have denied are all around what we've heard so much of tonight, is socialism. There's strings attached. There's SEL tests for these kids that ask sexual questions, and in the past in the Woodland Park School District, they were, just as Mr. Galawaski stated, they were on our payroll as teachers. They were counselors that are paid for the state, and we have our own counselors, and people need to realize that we are set up, the school, we don't take these grants because they're not advantageous for our hometown rule. So I admire him for stepping up to the plate. Now, if the fruit is bad, or if the root is bad, the fruit's gonna be bad. And in this instance, I fully support him. And we have increased our enrollment with merit. These kids are a part of our district. They are children that live in our community, and they need to be recognized as such. There are, as President Rusterholt stated, there are no second-class citizens in this school. And that is a big problem in our district. These kids live here. Just because their parents chose another route or advocate for school choice, not every child learns the same. And it's a blessing for our community, and Mr. Witt has advocated for that. We have done great things, and he's got my support.
Thank you. Cassie?
Yeah. So results matter, right? And that's something we talked about when we were interviewing and discussing, the school district with Superintendent Witt. Superintendent Witt has focused on our academic performances. He has improved the equal access to services by making transportation and free meals for all of our students if they need one. We also have extended the opportunities for sixth graders to be in all of our elementary schools for next year. So I do support the work that's being done, and I thank you for it.
Nick?
I've been an observer for the last couple of years, a close observer, but I just recently joined the school board. And during that last couple of years, I could see the changes, and at times a lack of harmony between the administration and the board, and that leads to a lack of trust. Since Ken Wedd has taken the helm, things have been falling into place, and we're experiencing some harmony between the superintendent and the school board, and it shows. Positive things are happening and taking place, and there's a new level of trust that is very important in a leadership team. I feel like Ken is the right man to lead this district going into this next year, and I'm in full support of him.
Thank you. Thank
you, Mr. President. When we brought you on board, Ken, your contract had you as an interim superintendent for the remainder of this school year. So I think it expires on July 1st technically. But it had a provision that was approved at that time that it could be extended for 1 year. And so based on the results, based on your proven leadership, the way I'm seeing increased equal access to school services, transportation, meals for all of our kids who want one at any school, based on the focus on academic success above all, based on focus on making sure that we have great security in our schools, something that is going to be coming up soon. I really like the results I've been seeing. One of the things that I did really like about the contract was I think it was a bit of a lesson learned from the previous contractual situation. And I just want to outline that a little bit. By renewing Mr. Witt's contract for the final year, we provide stability going into the next school year, which is important for the leadership of this school district and for all the people who depend upon it. But at the same time, we have always promised this community that we would do a search for a permanent superintendent down the road. The traditional season for doing that sort of search, when the superintendents are looking to make changes and things like that, is in the December to January timeframe. And so what this will allow is for the community to have input in the most important way possible, which is the election. There is an election in November of 23. Myself, Mr. Bates, Ms. Kimball are on the ballot. That represents a majority of the board. And so the community will get their input on one of the most important decisions that we make as a school board, which is choosing a superintendent to lead these schools, lead these teachers and professionals, and lead our kids to a successful future. They will get that opportunity. They deserve that opportunity. And so, although we make sure that we have stability, we have a steady hand at the helm going into the next school year. If voters decide to make a change in the 2023 election, they will be able to then, with a new board, go ahead and do a permanent superintendent search. And if the old board remains in some form or fashion, we will still be able to do that new permanent superintendent search. The reason that's so important is because what we saw happen in the 21 election was that a superintendent was hired with a multi-year contract 3 months before that entire board no longer remained in place. And so what happened was not an ideal situation. The superintendent had been hired by a board that was no longer there controlling the school district and leading it forward. And so they were kind of thrown together. And that wasn't great for anybody. That wasn't great for the board. It wasn't great for the superintendent. And it wasn't great for the people of this community. To say nothing about the issues it caused at times amongst the school administration itself. So I think it's very important that we think ahead on this. And that's why I think that this contract allows everybody a good opportunity to see that the results are there, and for the most important part of the community, our voters, to have the final say and give us a vote of confidence or vote of no confidence in the leadership of the superintendent as well as the school board. I look forward to that in November, and I look forward tonight to exercising the renewal option on your contract, Mr. Witt. And I look forward to you leading us to great places in the next upcoming school year. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Illingworth. Any other directors would like to say anything? Any other discussion?
No, I do want to second what Director Illingworth said, because when we went through the process, we always said that, we were, did not want to waste any of the tax dollars for the contracts and extending this. And we make this decision, we don't take this decision lightly. So thank you for your words.
Anyone else? Yesterday and today, I had a number of people reach out and ask me questions about the hiring process for our superintendent. As you know, before we hired and we're considering other candidates for our superintendent, I had been saying that I wanted to hire personally, I would like to hire a CEO or a change agent to bring important change that would reflect the values of our community and the values and virtues of the board of directors. The rest of the board, we had decided that maybe the direction wasn't to be a CEO, but we would hire an interim superintendent. According to the rules that as I understood it, I said that at the end of this interim period, at the end of this contract, that we would have to go through an entire hiring process again. In my understanding, I was wrong, because the contract provided for the board of directors to continue or end Mr. Witt's contract when it expired in the beginning of July. So I wanted to explain why we are not having a public search or another interview process for superintendent. It was a misunderstanding on my part. So I just wanted to explain that before going forward on this. Should we choose at this point to extend Superintendent Witt's contract, then at the end of that, as Mr. Illingworth said, we will go through the entire hiring process at that time. So tonight, I would just like to say that Superintendent Witt has done the things that this board of directors, that the community that elected us to office, he has done those things very well. I believe that we are going through growing pains here at the school, but I think that it is all to a very good end that represents the parents of our community. It provides a total choice for the parents of our community. It provides opportunities and education for the students. As we see, there are students coming back to our school, that we've attracted the attention of teachers and educators across the United States. There are people that are wanting to do in, for instance, Ohio. The state of Ohio was considering today to adopt the American birthright standards for their school across the state of Ohio. So Woodland Park is truly taking the lead in this. They were voting today. I don't know what the outcome of that vote is, but at least we are taking notice. You might notice that we have NBC over here, and we welcome you to our meeting tonight. Thank you for being here. So to continue, I would like to voice my support of Superintendent Witt. I think that he's doing the kind of job that we expected and hoped that he would do, and I look forward to working with him in this next year should we vote in favor of him. So at this time, I would like to ask for a motion to extend Superintendent Witt's contract for another year.
Oh, and David, we do have a resolution to accomplish this. I think we should probably go ahead and read the resolution, and then we'll be voting to approve it. So
Okay.
I'll make that motion in conformance with reading the resolution and voting whether to approve it.
I second.
You want me to go ahead and read it, David?
Yeah, Mr. Illingworth, would you please read the resolution?
It's titled Resolution for Superintendent Contract Renewal. Whereas this board highly values Ken Witt's strong leadership as interim superintendent of the Woodland Park School District and wishes his continuance as superintendent for the 23-24 school year. Whereas the existing contract term ends June 30th of 2023, now be it resolved, we, the Woodland Park School Board of Education, do hereby extend the interim superintendent contract through June 30th of 2024 and revise the job title to superintendent.
Do I have a motion to accept the resolution for superintendent contract renewal?
Motion to accept.
Second.
Roll call.
Bates.
Aye.
Illingworth.
Aye.
Kimbrell.
Aye.
Patterson.
Aye.
Rusterholz.
Aye.
Yes, please. I just want to say thank you, board. I appreciate both the clear guidance and the clear goals and visions that you've set for the school district. I believe you have the deep support of this community, and I am honored to continue to lead. Thank you.
On to action item B. Director Kimbrell.
Yes. It was mentioned here tonight in public comment, and so I'm going to introduce a resolution of the Board of Education. The title is Support for Economic Freedom and the American Constitution.
Amen.
The Colorado Education Association, the CEA, last week adopted a resolution which in part states, quote, CEA believes that capitalism requires the exploitation of children, public schools, land, labor, and/or resources. Capitalism is in opposition to fully addressing systemic racism, the school-to-prison pipeline, climate change, the patriarchy, gender and LGBTQ disparities, education inequality, and income inequality, end quote. The original language was even more direct, stating that, quote, capitalism inherently exploits children, public schools, land, labor, and resources. The Board of Education of Woodland Park School District rejects this aberrant proposition and the underlying message it conveys. Further, the Board of Education hereby declares its support for the American economic system and the American Constitution, which, in concert with a firm adherence to faith and family, constitutes the fundamental and exceptional foundation of our education system in our nation. This was adopted May 10th, 2023.
Is there any discussion concerning the resolution?
I was very excited, I'm sorry if I may.
Please.
I was very excited when Director Kimbrell proposed adding this resolution to the agenda tonight. It seemed well taken, especially considering I think I was in shock with I think just about everybody else when we saw the news come through that the CEA had adopted this. And all I can say is, boy, the mask is really off with the CEA at this point. They clearly think they're too big to fail and they don't need to cover up what they're really about anymore. But unfortunately, most institutions that reach that level of hubris, they find that's exactly what causes them to fail. And so, they're welcome to it. They can call it what they want. It's communism is what it is when the rubber meets the road.
That's right.
And so they can keep it as long as they keep it out of Woodland Park, because in Woodland Park we believe in freedom, independence, and the right to be in charge of your own destiny.
That's right.
Keep the fruits of your own labor. So. And I'm very happy and pleased to support this resolution. And I'll just add that, I think the CEA, respectfully, they should get back to what they were formed to do, get back to their foundational principles, and work to make life better for the teachers and professionals who make up the membership of their association, as well as the kids that those people dedicate their careers to improving their lives for. They need to get back to that, and maybe they can contribute again to the great public education system in the state of Colorado. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Dr. Bates.
I was shocked to read this. All too often, we see that the very people that capitalism has taken to the top are the very people that want to shut the gate behind themselves and limit it for others. And I'm tired of seeing this take place. But capitalism, if you stop and think about it, is the reason we're all here in a warm building and enjoying the things of this country that we have. So I feel very strongly about it. I was very disappointed when I read that. I just took things to a new level. I strongly support this resolution and agree with Mr. Illingworth on some of his points, and will gladly support this.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hallelujah.
I would also like to support this resolution because most of us in this room know how socialism works and what has happened with the CEA that's gotten so big. The Woodland Park Education Association dues go to the Colorado Education Association, which goes to the National Education Association, which it's been proven that 90% of teachers' union dues go to political campaigns. And none of the teachers are advocated for, none of the students are advocated for. It's just a big political bureaucracy. So I support this resolution.
That's right.
I just want to add that I am, I introduced this resolution completely in support of it. I have a young daughter at home, and the thought of raising her in a communist world and a communist country is exactly why I'm here today. That's what I want to stop. And so, thank you for the board in support of this, and we do not support the CEA and their Marxist communist ideas.
That's right. Thank you.
Every year, we have across the world millions of people who want nothing more than to come to this country,
That's
the
right.
United States of America.
That's right.
Why is that? I mean, the lady who gave the Pledge of Allegiance this evening, where did you come from?
I'm from Trinidad and Tobago. It's in the Caribbean.
And are you glad to be in the United States?
Very much so, and I love it very much. And I'll do all I can to fight for this nation.
Thank you.
We live in the greatest nation on the earth because of one word, liberty.
Amen.
And liberty brings people across our southern border legally or illegal because there's a dream, and that is that they can take their dream and make it a reality. Capitalism is that tool that allows you to start your business, whether it is a gas station, whether it's an accounting firm, a lawyer, whatever you want to be, you can live your American dream because of the liberty we have here and capitalism.
That's right.
Not any kind of system is perfect, but I'll tell you what, here I believe we live in the greatest country in the world because of liberty and the tool, the capitalistic idea. Around the world, people are fleeing from what kind of countries to come here? Socialist, communist, Marxist countries. They want the liberty that we have here. People who come here, that one of the ladies who spoke tonight, coming from Eastern Europe, came here to escape that exact kind of system because there's liberty here. She could start her own business, her husband, do what she wanted to do. I am very concerned at the public school systems across the United States and about many things. We have such opportunity here that with the continued growth of socialism being taught in schools or promoted silently or overtly, like we've just seen with the Colorado Education Association statement on capitalism, that the growth of communism here has the potential to destroy our great nations and our great public school systems. I think it is important for lovers of liberty to take a stand wherever you can or willing. Pay the cost that is necessary to pay to preserve and defend our liberty. How many men and women in this room do we have that have served our country in armed forces and have defended, put their lives on the line to preserve liberty? It is vital that we take a stand against this kind of cancer that is sweeping our nation.
Amen.
And changing the way our kids think about this great nation. When I graduated from high school in 1978, nearly 90% of the people that graduated in our class believed that they were proud to be United States citizens and live in the greatest nation there was. The report that I saw last year was a dreadful 18% of American graduating seniors were proud to be Americans. It's dreadful. We need to make a change. That's why I ran for this position, to make a change and to represent the parents.
Thank you.
I strongly stand in agreement with this resolution to oppose what the Colorado Education Association Union, part of the National Education Association, I strongly stand against it, that we need to defend our liberty against this kind of a movement.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion to accept the resolution?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Bates.
Aye.
Illingworth.
Aye.
Kimbrell.
Aye.
Patterson.
Aye.
Rusterholz.
Proudly, aye.
Thank you. Woo! About time someone stands up.
Next on our agenda. I don't know, that's going to be a hard act to follow. I'm pumped up. We have Roman numeral 7, discussion, information. A, preliminary budget, scheduling of public hearing by our CFO, Amy Ryan. Are you ready, Amy?
Yes, just give me a minute.
We're going to have an introduction by Superintendent Witt.
Well, number one, I'd just like to, welcome Amy. This is her first discussion of the budget. She jumped in with both feet and got moving very quickly for Woodland Park School District, and we are delighted to have her. Bear in mind that she's only had a couple of weeks to work through the first pass of the budget and has taken the input from the community, from the DAC, looked at ongoing projects, etc., and has worked very diligently to develop the preliminary budget, and it'll continue to be refined with input from this meeting, and will result in a public hearing and a final approval in June. Thank you, Mrs. Ryan. While she's preparing, I'll take another moment to introduce Kim Moore as well, who is our new Chief Academic Officer. Kim, wave. Kim has joined us and talked on the agenda today. It is wonderful to have an outstanding administrative team in place, and they're already doing great things for Woodland Park students and Woodland Park schools.
Okay, so before I begin, I'd like to say that I'm excited to be here as the CFO for an incredible school district. I'm confident that we can work together to ensure that our resources are used wisely and that our students have everything they need to succeed. This is very important to me as a parent. Thank you so much to the board for this opportunity. So if you turn to your binders to the green tab, you can follow along. So this first slide on page 2 is the total revenue and expenses for all funds with a comparison of the 2024 preliminary budget to the 2023 revised budget. And we are projecting that an overall decrease of $1.4 million in both revenue and expenses. The food service is increasing in both revenue and expense due to the increase in the number of meals projected to be served as a result of the free Healthy School Meals for All program and the addition of serving meals to the charter school.
Amy, could you just pull that microphone right down there?
Am I not, there we go.
Thank you.
Okay. The transportation expense increase is due to the standard annual increase of 4.5%, and the addition of merit does not have any effect on our expense. Although they do have an effect, they increase our revenue.
Can I ask you a question about that?
Yeah.
So could you clarify that for transportation, merit does not increase the expense, but it increases the revenue?
Right.
Can you explain that?
It's because the students are on our current bus routes, so our expense is not increasing other than the annual increase that we normally have, which is 4.5%. But since the students are paying the $50 fee, and we're assuming for now that half of the students that may be riding the bus, we're saying that we're going to get another $10,000 of revenue, or $10,000 of revenue for the merit students.
So I'm not going to put you on the spot. You don't have to respond to this, but we had a public comment tonight that said exactly opposite to that.
Correct.
If you'd like to respond to that, smile, and if not, smile. You know. Thank you. If you want to respond, respond. But if you don't, please don't. If you prefer not to. Thank you.
Mr. Witt, would you like to say anything on that?
Yeah, let me just respond very directly. We're not adding routes, we're not adding buses, so there's been no added expense. It's that simple. Transportation costs have not gone up, except for the annual increase that's in the contract. No increased cost has occurred in providing transportation to all of our students in Woodland Park School District. However, revenues have increased a bit because we have more students filling those buses that were less than full, substantially less than full, and we're getting more revenue for them.
Director Kimbrell wanted to comment.
I just want to make one statement on this. We have parents that send their kids to both Merritt and to the school district. And when they send one kid onto the bus and not the other, it causes a lot of, chaos for these families that have to go to work and they're depending on this. So this is a great choice and opportunity for all parents, all students in our district.
Well, and honestly, Mr. Rosols, if I can piggyback on that. Sorry, Amy.
That's fine.
Because if you have parents who, and we have, many families have some children in Merritt and some children at Columbine or the middle school.
Right?
I know Mr. Bates' family has that, but they're not going to send a child on the bus to the middle school if they can't put their child on the bus to Merritt as well. So that's a loss all the way around for us, okay? It's not just we're only getting one when we could get two, we're going to get zero when we could get two. So this is essential in making sure that no child is left behind and every family has equal access, and it makes all the sense in the world. It's what they call a no-brainer. Thank you.
There's one thing I do want to add before we keep going on. We had terrible traffic issues down here by the middle school. Complaints from the neighbors about the amount of cars at drop-off and pickup times. So since the school buses are going to the same bus stops, no other bus stops, since it's now an increased revenue to the school, and we also eliminate a huge traffic problem for every one of those kids that are now riding on a bus with their brothers, their sisters, and their neighbors. I think that it all the way around is a win-win, and there are no downsides to this at all. Besides that, we have no second-class kids at our school. Thank you, Amy, for the commercial break.
Okay. So the two big items that we just talked about, the food service and transportation, and then we're going to get into general fund in the next slide. So we'll get into more detail on that. First, we're going to talk about the revenue. And the general fund revenue assumptions. The pupil count is expected to remain the same in fiscal year 24 as 23 at 2,246.8 funded pupils. And the total enrollments are projected to be flat with a significant increase in one school that will offset decreases in the others. The per pupil rate for 2024 is $1,000 higher than 23 at $10,168.60. Then also you'll see on this slide descriptions of each of our funds, just for your reference. So next we have the general fund revenue detail. The first two line items are calculated using the per pupil assumptions and result in a total increase of $2 million over 2023. And this revenue does include merit. The total allocations include capital projects with $1 million dedicated to security upgrades and an increase in the charter school allocation due to the school's expansion. So the total general fund revenue after allocations is projected to increase $551,000 in 2024. So next we're going to talk about the general fund expenditures. We're on page 7. The total expenditures are projected to be $392,000 higher than fiscal year 23. And this includes an increase in salaries, although a final determination cannot yet be made. We also have changes in benefits. So while the medical insurance coverage remains the same, the cost will decrease significantly in fiscal year '24. And the savings has allowed us to triple the life insurance coverage and expand the employee assistance program to cover all employees, as well as add professional liability insurance for all of our teachers. Whoops, sorry.
It's amazing.
And then the next steps in the budget process is to develop the proposed budget that will be presented to the board on June 14th, and the deadline for budget approval is June 30th. That's all I have.
Any questions for Amy? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Roman numeral 7B. Emergency Superintendent Succession. Mr. Witt.
Yes, this is basically an administrative matter, but of course it's very important with an organization that runs multiple schools and impacts thousands of students that we make certain that in any event we continue to serve our families, our community, and those students. So it's a matter that's always necessary when we sign a superintendent contract or announce a change in leadership, that we know who is backing up in case, in this case, I get run over by a bus or whatever. So an emergency succession plan is necessary to protect the board and the district in the event of an unforeseen inability of the superintendent to serve in the capacity of superintendent. Aaron Salt, the COO, will be the interim superintendent in the event of an inability of the superintendent to fulfill the role. Amy Ryan, CFO, will be the interim superintendent in such a situation should Aaron Salt be unavailable to assume the role.
Thank you. Any questions by the directors? On to Board of Education reports. Are there any directors have anything that they would like to say? Mr. Illingworth.
Thank you. Two things I want to say. First, I wanted to point out, everybody's probably aware of it, but high school graduation is coming up upon us. May 27th, it starts at 10 a.m., the high school football field. So I know I'll be there. I'm excited, as always, to see another graduating class, another group of young men and women ready to step out into the world and hopefully on to great futures. So, of course, any support the community can come give to these wonderful graduates and offer their congratulations, please do so. And then the last thing I wanted to mention was I want to first advise everybody during pickup and drop off, watch out for our crossing guards. We've had a couple close calls lately. We've had, I've been speaking with our crossing guard. You probably all know, I think she's our most famous one, Lisa Pitts. She's always out there dancing. I don't know how she does it, but she puts a smile on everybody's face. She's like a ray of sunshine, welcoming everybody into the school. She waves at every single person who comes by. And I was talking with her today, and she was talking about some close calls that she's had. And also, I know one of the members of the DAC, Mike DeMuth, has been trying to work with anybody he can to try and improve the visibility, highlight those areas along Kelly's and Ramparts / Baldwin, whatever it's called, whatever spot you're at on it. And sort of try and alert traffic that these crossing guard spots are coming up. It's especially a little touchy on Kelly's because you have a long drag there. There's no stop signs at some of those along there until you get to the intersection. So you've got crossing guards who might suddenly be popping out, and there are speed limit changes there and everything. So I hope that we can work with the city council and the city of Woodland Park and see what we can do to increase visibility there. I saw that recently the city, and I think maybe the police department is The police department's behind it. They've moved this little speed sign thing that lights up and will tell you to slow down and things like that, and that's great. That's a temporary fix, but I hope we can increase finding something maybe more permanent that's going to alert drivers, because whatever we can do that's going to avoid an accident, avoid causing harm or injury to any employee or any little kid, and there's tons of little kids there at the Columbine crossing and as well as at the middle school Merritt crossing there. I mean, they've got kindergartners at both of those schools. So be advised, be careful, and we look forward to the city working with us to improve the safety conditions around those crosswalks. Thank you. And wave to Lisa Pitts when you drive by.
It's a must. Any other directors?
I'd like to bring this up that Director Illingworth stressed that we need to work with the city, and the subject is the 5G cell tower that is projected to go by the Aquatic Center, by the slide. And I know it is not my jurisdiction as a board, and I speak for myself, not as for the rest of the board, but that concerns me that it's so close to our schools.
Yep.
And our number one role up here is to advocate for the children. And I'm just asking, I know it's not within my jurisdiction, but if we could get involved with the city council and work together as a community. I'm not opposed to the cell tower, but I am opposed to it being in front of our schools where the argument is kids are on their phones all the time. Well, phones can be shut off, but the radiation from these cell towers are constant 24 hours, and our children are a captive audience. So if you could just be mindful of that and do some research, and we can work with the city council and put it somewhere else.
Yes, definitely.
Director Bates.
Nothing tonight.
I don't really have anything tonight. I do want to thank NBC for being here tonight. I don't know, do any of you want to introduce yourself? Where are you guys from? What studios are you from?
Sure.
I just want to give you a nice warm welcome.
I appreciate that, and I appreciated you giving me some of your time before the meeting started. My name's Antonia Hilton. I work for NBC News. And this is my team. About half of us live in Colorado. The other half, including myself, work out of headquarters in New York.
So you came from New York to come to our meeting?
Yes,
I'm honored. That's all I have. Okay, at this time, there's something here I have to read. We're going to be going into executive session in a moment, and it is in regard to school security. So I'd just like to ask each of the directors if you'd like to make a statement in regard to school security. Sheriff Illingworth. Mr. Illingworth does work for the district attorney's office that works with our sheriff, so course mistake. Jason Mikesell, our county sheriff, had asked to lead our meeting tonight, and he is expert in security. We are blessed to have a man like him serving as our county sheriff. So we're going to top priority going into next year is our school security.
Thank you.
And we are working diligently at that. So I want to ask each of our directors if they would like to make a statement or a comment about our security issues before we go into executive session. Anyone have anything to say?
I mean, I'll start. Yeah. I just want to say that I'm looking forward to these discussions that we are having, because safety and security of our students and our staff and our teachers are upmost one of the, the hottest agenda items that schools across the nation, including here, need to be talking about. And since we just had the budget proposal and, we will be voting on this here very soon, I do want to continue to discuss and find a better solution for the upcoming school year in regards to our security and safety.
Director Patterson.
I agree with Director Kimbrell that we need to beef up our security because all the parents in the community trust their children in our care for 8 hours a day, and there's been multiple shootings across the country. And our agenda is to, this has been, all the board members know this has been special to my heart since I ran for election. And I believe that we can train teachers, that we can train staff, that we can be prepared when a shooter comes into our school. God forbid that it ever happens, but we need to be prepared. We need to train people. And in my blunt opinion, the only thing that is going to take care of a crazy person with a gun is a responsible person with a gun.
That's right.
Mr. Bates. Many of you are aware, I'm very involved with law enforcement, and one of the challenges they're experiencing now are the lack of qualified people to do police work. One of those, one of the first thing that gets hit are the SROs. So this is a challenge across the country. This is a nationwide problem, and we are very fortunate here in Teller County to have Sheriff Mike Sell. I've known him for many, many years. He and I have had personal conversations about these types of issues, and he's got a good head on his shoulders about these issues. So I'm excited. I've met Mr. Petruna recently, and am encouraged with what I've learned from my discussions with him. So this group is going to take this very seriously, and of all the blessings we have to be in Teller County, we're pretty fortunate to have Sheriff Mike Sell. He's got a broad range of knowledge regarding security. So I'm excited about it.
Thank you. Did you have anything to
Sure. I think we're blessed to have Sheriff Mike Sell. I also want to recognize the hard work, contributions, and experience of Chief Dessler of the Woodland Park Police Department.
Yeah.
And I look forward to studying this issue. It's especially relevant in light of the budget proposal that's going to be coming up in June to make sure that security measures get high priority in that budget. This is a high priority for everybody who's involved in the schools in our community. It's a high priority for me, but as you all know, I have 4 little kids enrolled in our schools in this school district. And so for me, it's not just a high priority, it's personal. And it's personal for everybody who works here and every other parent who sends their children to these schools. And so we want to make sure that we give it our maximum attention and make sure that we have maximum security in a way that removes fear so that everybody can have a wonderful, thriving experience getting an education and having a career here at the Woodland Park School District.
Thank you.
It is one of the top questions that parents will ask us, and so, what are the safety protocols? And so when we have those discussions, we are good with them and they're here, but we want to continue to make sure that with the new budget coming up, that we're just making sure across the board that our security is safe for all schools and for all students across the district.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I believe that this board of directors is going to approach this opportunity of security at our schools with the same diligence and enthusiasm we've done the rest of the changes that we've made here. I think that with Superintendent Witt leading on this and the board with the resources that we have, we are once again going to attract national attention at the great security and leadership that we are going to have here. My goal is that we will set the standard for safety at our schools. So we're going to come up with a great plan. We have a great team, and we're going to lead the way on this as well. We all want our schools to be safe.
Yes, sir.
So thank you again for being here this evening. So at this time, I need a motion for us to adjourn to executive session for specialized details of security arrangements or investigations pursuant to Colorado Revised Statute 246402-4D. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Bates.
Aye.
Illingworth.
Aye.
Kimbrell.
Aye.
Patterson.
Aye.
Rusterholz.
Aye. This time I'd also like to invite our attorney, Mr. Brad Miller, to our meeting, our executive session. Thank you, everyone. Just to let you know, during executive session, there are no decisions made. We won't be voting on anything. Any votes or decisions made will be made in full public, although you can understand that this is something that has to be very carefully and quietly discussed. So thank you again for being here, and I appreciate all of you.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thank you very much for serving.
Oh,
Thank
thank you.
Thank you very much.
motion to adjourn this evening's meeting?
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
You guys aren't gonna sit down now? I sat down for you.
You're interrupting our meeting.
Just asking a question.
Roll call.
Roll call.
Bates,
Aye.
Illingworth,
Aye.
Kimbrell, aye. Patterson,
Aye.
Ruster Holtz.
Aye.